everybody. It's the what was it called? I can never remember it. We're at the off night for lovely comedy. We're going to be talking about some stuff coming up. We got some new stuff, a great poem from our favorite poet. And someday I'll get some cue cards so I can read this stuff. But for right now, we're going to go to our host, Mr. Mark Sweetman.
Hey, thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah. Just a piece of paper and a pencil. And you have a whole week till next week's show, and you'll be able to remember, my name and the show's name and Susan's name, and you'll be able to remember all those in a week's time anyway. And if you get
a map like this, I'll be able to remember your name really well,
there you go. And if you get to Sunday and you still haven't completed it, you can give me a call or send me a text. I'll help you out.
Sure, no problem. We like these senior moments, kind of warm ourselves around the glow of the fire.
I had a senior moment today.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Susan and I had an appointment, and she goes, "Can we get coffee?" So we go to McDonald's, and of course we do the drive-through. And so I asked for a senior coffee. And the conversation, all I wanted was a senior coffee. It was $1.05 with tax. And it was for Susan. She wanted her creamers, the little cream that comes with it. And she doesn't like it mixed in. She likes to mix it because they either put too little, too much. So we always ask for 4 creamers. That'll pretty much take care of it. And if we have too much, she can take them home, put them in the fridge. She can use them for a later coffee or something like that. Well, the conversation, because it was on one of these, squawk boxes, and you're talking to somebody, it just went back and forth. And I call that a senior moment because I'm not sure if I couldn't be heard, or I'm not sure if she wasn't heard properly. But it was like, she goes, so 2, and I don't know how I said a senior coffee with 4 creamers. And she goes, 2 sugars? I didn't say 2. The number I said was 4, and I said creamers, and she heard 2 sugars. I just, it's me. I don't. Whose senior moment is that? Is that my? I guess really that isn't my senior moment.
Could be your senior moment. I say. I think that's. I think you should own it, even if it isn't yours. You should own it. Because that would be helpful for everybody. That's what what a senior person should do is to say, "Oh, it's okay. I made the mistake. That's fine."
Right.
Maybe not. I don't know. Or it could be a cranky guy. I mean, I could swear I hear something and it sounds like completely different from what I thought it was. Anyway, I gotta tell you, I'm as an Uber driver, I'm getting like a little disappointed in the women of Detroit, because I'm always confronted with, you have to have, car seats for the kids. You have to have car seats for the kids.
Yeah.
Okay? And it's like, I can't tell you how many people I pull up to that are young kids, but they won't carry car seats. Like they pretend to be dumb. It's like, oh, car seats? Do we really have to have car seats? Well, yeah, unless you want to see your kid going through a windshield at 60 miles an hour. What the hell's wrong with you? I mean, for crying out loud, it's very simple. You go down to the Walmart and you buy a $50 car seat. And yeah, you know what? It is a burden. It's a burden. Like there are some people that get kids and they.
Now, do you have a car seat?
Having a dog, Do
you have a car seat?
I get the feeling that they want to find a place. Can we just turn this kid back in somewhere? Can we just we were not sure how it was going to be. So we didn't want to carry around car seats,
Do you have a car seat? Do you keep one with you just in case? Or?
No, because then I'll be liable.
Oh, I got it. Now, does Uber tell you not to carry one?
For the most part, now Uber and the lawyers say, because then you'll be responsible. If it doesn't work, you provided it, you're responsible.
Oh, okay.
Same thing with like a step up into the cab. If that step fails or breaks apart, you are responsible because you provided it.
So it really is right sharing.
The insurance covers the car. It doesn't cover people getting into the car. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, my whole life is like, what liability do I have? I think that's why I think marriage should be just basically said on, I take this liability for now and forever. And she takes me as a liability from now and forever, and we'll tie our.
Oh, that's very funny. Do you take this liability to be your lawfully wife? Do you take this liability to be your lawfully wedded husband? I like that.
That would be good.
All right. Well, let's get Susan out here. I know.
Okay.
She'd rather watch us on YouTube than actually be here with us. So,
she doesn't want the liability,
being close to you. Does not. Exactly. She does not want the liability. Hi, dear.
I object to you saying what I want.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
Pretty much.
I speak for myself. The coffee story is true, but that's how cheap a date I am. So I start work at 8. So at 7, we're trying to get a coffee. But actually, I wanted a schmancy, fancy Speedway coffee, and so we go to Speedway and close.
Using Google Maps. Using Google Maps.
Like under construction.
Not
so
only
then
closed,
we
but
end
they
up
had
at McDonald's, and she can't hear right. And Mark is just repeating. No creamers or no sugar, 0 sugars. And she's like, 2 sugars. And I'm like, black coffee. Cream on the side, please. So Mark won't say it a different way. He'll just keep saying it the same way that they've already demonstrated they don't understand, didn't hear correctly.
Well, can I tell you what happened to me at an airport in Utah?
Okay.
I go to the Starbucks. I go up to the counter. There's this nice young lady. She's about, could be more than 20 years old. And I say, I would like to have a black coffee, please. And she looked at me and said, that's racist.
Oh, my God.
I go, what?
The raciest coffee you have, please.
I kind of go, well, should I say just without cream or something? What? How should I ask for it? And I was like, well,
how about a black tea then?
How about is a noir coffee? Could I have a noir coffee? So that'd be okay. But she was serious. She was dead serious. Now you gotta okay. Just any coffee that I don't have to have cream or sugar in. Is that okay?
Black is a color. And people get a little bit hung up on every word has one definition. And that's just not true.
I said, should I order a dark coffee? It's like, is that better? I don't know. I mean, it's like, I don't know.
They really get upset when you use the wrong pronoun for the coffee. That's when they really get upset.
Yeah, I know. But it's the truth. It honestly happened to me. I'm going like, why? What is about my presentation? The hat, the thing. Do I look like somebody who's
you know what, Andy?
Running an organization?
Andy, we're all over 60. We all look like we're MAGA.
Oh, that's true.
You can't get around it. You can't. There's nothing you can do about it.
We could have been the most liberal people in the world, but we got this blanket.
Exactly. We look like our fathers. So
I think you'll be fine if you keep looking like Santa Claus, especially with the red hat today.
Yeah.
Well, there we go.
You should consider, at least out in public, not now because they're probably useful. But your glasses, you should get the round ones. The round wire frames.
I do.
You should get whatever you want. Don't listen to Mark.
Well, I'm trying to help him.
Yes, Mr. Fashion Sense in that green plaid.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Do you want your poem?
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. Let me find my Santa glasses and I'll be back.
Okay? It becomes the Bickersons. I just love it.
I'll go
How
find
many
my
buttons are missing on that shirt, Mr. Fashion?
He's still in St. Patty's Day,
Yeah.
Well, you might. Okay, you want to talk fashion? I think I got something that could probably, and I got to look at the camera like this. Probably make me some money, and that is I cannot find a brand that sells 2 pockets. A pocket here and a pocket here. I got shirts like that.
2 pockets. Oh, God. Okay.
2 pockets on the
2
shirt.
pockets. I gotcha. That make. Oh
Well,
yeah.
why don't you come over to women's fashion, where often clothing has 0 pockets? And if you're lucky enough to find an outfit you like with a pocket, they're usually pretty shallow, crappy kind of pockets. Women like pockets as well, but we get cheated on pockets in our fashion.
I have not been a fan of women's fashion since they came up with the butt floss. When they decided
it doesn't look good on you, Mark, and it never has.
I don't think it looks good. I don't think it looks good. First of all, the pressure to keep your ass crack clean has got to be tremendous.
Tremendous. I mean, my God.
All right. Do you want your poem? I think we're going down a bad trail.
What are you talking about?
I was just talking about everything normal. You know, I didn't mean to take it down that dark.
You're chasing Andy away.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. You were making fun of my missing button. I had to think of the most outrageous thing I could think about for women's
You thought
fashion.
you could dress today to match the curtain behind you, I think.
I'm trying to hide just my face.
He's attacking you.
All right, let's get. Andy's left, so I'm just going to put Susan out there so she can read her poem. Here we go.
Okay, here's your poem, ripped from the headlines. March 24th, 2025. Pope Francis is home after his hospital stay. Hope just in time for our world, he will pray. South Korea's political turbulence continues. The people are upset as impeachment discontinued. South Korean people were mad and were heard to retort as PM Han Duck-soo reinstated as president by the court. Trump gutting federal offices, staffing and such. But what is he hiding? Why such a fuss? March Madness is on, but I'm not talking your bracket. Although Trump bragged that he backdated and hacked it. Basketball teams are not the uproar, though Musk and Dog E are raiding the store. Instead, we should focus on our country's employers. And last weekend, he issued an attack against lawyers. So good luck to all who stand up to this bully. Just hope that you don't find your neck in a pulley.
Ooh.
And that's your poem.
Wow.
Well, what's next? Trump is violating court orders, and he is threatening, and he is just off the rails. And what's next? He got a painting from Putin. Did you hear about that?
Was it him on a horse, half naked?
A portrait of himself from Putin.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like, was he on the horse, half naked, or something? Remember when he did those?
His face kind of does look horse-like, only less attractive.
No, he actually had himself photographed on a horse with no shirt on.
I remember that photo.
Putin did.
Putin, yeah.
Putin gave Trump a painting of Trump.
Oh.
Have you seen some of those?
Okay, that's kind of wow. That's weird, man. What are they?
Have you seen some of these
it's
artificial intelligence memes where they're where they've got Putin and Trump making out?
Oh yeah.
You guys saw some of that.
Those crack me up.
There's
Well, anyway, Susan always likes to have me and get the guys out here.
Well, it could be the secret thing because, Trump went to the wrestling matches. He says he likes to watch wrestlers.
Huh.
Well, he bragged about backdating his basketball bracket. So like he's bragging about cheating. Like anybody can fill in a perfect bracket if you wait till the games are over.
In a way, I used to think he can't get any worse, and then he'd get worse. And now I'm thinking, actually, he's doing us a great service because he's not always going to be there. And when he's gone, we're going to have to like somebody else. It'll be so much easier to backtrack all this shit by saying he was batshit crazy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
he fills in his bracket after the game and brags about it. Isn't somebody back there saying X-nay on the eating tray?
no, the emperor. No. Haven't you seen our Republican?
The emperor has no clothes.
The emperor has no clothes. Hey, let's get Sam's not with us tonight, but let's get our friend Jason out here, because Susan always likes to say hi.
You should get a list of the people that are on your show, Mark, and have it penciled in front of you.
Thank you
so,
very much.
Andy, you want to explain to me what's wrong with looking at wrestlers? You want to explain that one to me there?
Well, I'm just saying there's nothing wrong with looking at wrestlers. I'm just saying, like,
are you saying
seem to emphasize the fact that they like looking at wrestlers.
He was talking about Trump.
I gave up. You know what? I'm unfanned wrestling. I was a big fan until about the third or fourth grade.
Mark gave up wrestling for Lent.
Well, I had to give up wrestling when I got the little thing on my ankle that kept me 500 feet away from the school. So,
you can wrestle men.
Well, the thing is, I kept bumping into Lindsey Graham and on the way into the
yeah.
It's like, Senator Graham, what are you doing here? Oh, picking up your date. Yeah, I understand completely. Right. Yeah. Nice middle school, isn't it? Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah. You know, when Republicans are doing Lindsey Graham is in denial jokes, then you know. Graham.
Please! One of the best lines I heard when they're talking about said that Lindsey Graham will come out before the Epstein files do. Now
that's a good one.
That's a good line. That's a great line. And that was from another gay Republican, who also was a little bit tired of the whole Lindsey Graham, sort of Chuck Schumer thing there, which again, I find it interesting that your boy Chuck is under direct assault, and one has to wonder what's going on. Bernie stormed off an interview over the weekend.
I saw that. That was
because I think, part of it is kind of to light a fire under Bernie, and Bernie's like, look, I don't want to challenge the leadership of the Senate. It does not end well for me if I do that. I mean, on a practical level.
Well, not just that. He says, I'm 83 years old.
Yeah, well, there's no way he's running again for president.
That makes sense. That makes sense to me. Why would they even ask him something like that?
Yeah.
I think the idea is that maybe you get some sort of political coalition to sort of gather around him, and then he taps somebody, which lately seems to be AOC, seems to be the tappy of the moment.
Well,
whether that works out in the long run or not, I don't know.
Bernie has a fan base and a following, and people want the blessings of Bernie. So I don't think he has anything to worry about whether.
No, he doesn't. But I don't think that
whether he chooses to fight a battle or endorse somebody or not fight a battle. I mean,
he could leave the Senate today, and he and Barack could go on a speaking tour, a tag team speaking tour. Speaking of wrestling,
and they'd really have big,
and they'd clean up, man. They would clean up.
Yeah.
Well, as long as Bernie doesn't go swimming with Barack, I would recommend against that. But
why? What happened?
I want to see him go surfing.
Well, I'm not saying anything happened, and certainly Barack's pastry chef who died in 2 feet of water is not saying anything happened either, because men like that don't tell tales. It's just one of those things that's been going around for a long time. Just like the
on your side is going around.
You're goddamn right it has.
We're not big we're not big on conspiracy theories.
No. You got pure as the wind-driven snow, all of you. Yes, I know exactly. That's right.
Well, I guess Bernie and AOC are touring together, so that's pretty good. I mean, it's like I went to see Bernie. He's got a lot of energy. He's really good.
Bernie has always been far more erudite and together and lucid than the former corpse thing president that you had up there. Whenever they'd shoot him up with whatever youthful potion that they would pump in him for his appearances.
Here's why I like Bernie better than AOC, and this does not have anything to do with politics. It has to do with their ability to work on their feet. Bernie has heard everything and can pivot everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah. He's been at it for 50 years.
AOC has her talking points, and she tries to go back to them all the time.
Well, and the thing, if the Democrats decide that they want to go with AOC in the next presidential election, it's like, good luck. If you want your Senator Romney, you've got him. or her, as the case may be. And let's not forget that Romney in 2012. Shall we go back in time, folks? Back beyond last week.
No, they're going to go with the governor. There's three governors.
When Romney actually thought he was going to beat Barack Obama, he actually had $1 million worth of fireworks in Boston Harbor waiting to go when they announced that he had won the election in 2012 and defeated Barack Obama. He actually, if that isn't the definition of delusional, I don't know what is. Yes, I'm going to win. Buy the $1 million worth of fireworks. Put it on my tab. I mean, God knows he has it from plundering corporations after corporations and putting people out of work his whole career, because that's what he did.
The waiter at the fundraiser that recorded him telling the backers that he got to ignore his backers and his opponents. He was only looking for that 4.5% that's in the middle.
Yeah,
well, he is true. He was basically correct.
He was basically correct, but I think that's what screwed him.
I mean, the one thing you can hate Trump all you want. That's fine. I don't care. The fact is, he understood that the play was towards the middle. And by the way, Bill Clinton understood that too. Yeah. I mean, listen to James, what James Carville has been saying. Again, do I want to spend 5 minutes in the same room with James Carville? No.
I would argue that Barack Obama was more centrist than Bill
Biden. In the way he ran things. Yeah, he was. He was absolutely. Because he's a Chicago politician, he understands you have to get the art of what's possible. You get what you get today. You come back tomorrow for what's left.
Well,
which is a very pragmatic approach. Barack
Obama, how he won is the fact that he just ignored identity politics. How many times did Barack Obama on the campaign trail mention that he would be the first black president? How many times did he mention it personally? Zero. Not at all. Not once. Zip. Other people mentioned it, but not him. He was running on what they needed with unions. He was running on running on David Axelrod is what he was doing. He had the best campaign manager alive today, is what he had.
That's a perfect campaign manager, because David Axelrod is the most unelectable human.
He is the Lavrenti Beria of politics.
He doesn't sound right. He doesn't look right.
He's awful, but he knows how to win.
He was the Democrat Ed Meese. Remember Ed Meese?
Yes, he knows how to win. He absolutely, he's a machine. By the way, I mean, but so is Carville. The guy that Carville got elected never won the popular vote, but he became president not once but twice. And
Carville's my favorite, because he's the guy who says
he's quotable.
He's the guy who says we should be playing rope-a-dope with the Republicans.
Yes, he's right. No, he's absolutely right. You play back. You let your what is rope-a-dope? Remember, it's you let your opponent punch you. You're gonna take some blows. You're gonna let him punch him out. You take him into the late rounds, and that's when you go for the kill.
Speaking of rope-a-dope, it wasn't in Susan poem, but we lost George Foreman this
yes
week. He was the first victim of rope-a-dope.
Yeah, he was.
But we still have the Foreman grill. We still have the Foreman grill to remember.
Oh man, here's the weird. We were talking about this week. The weird thing about the Foreman grill was we had 4 or 5 of them, and we did not bitch because it didn't last. We just went because they were like $15 to $25, and you just went out and bought another one. Yeah, it wasn't like we weren't expecting, I'm pissed off at my Maytag refrigerator because it didn't last as long as my Hot Point or my Frigidaire did, and I got the Maytag because a salesman, talked me into it, and now I'm pissed. But the George Foreman, that was a grill when you pay $15 to $25. All right. So we had to pay 5 of them during a lifetime.
Okay, for all you young people out here, from us old people, there was a time you bought appliances and they lasted like your entire effing life. You bought some. You spent a week's wage on it. It wasn't cheap. Dad complained all day long, but you know what? That refrigerator, that washing machine, that dryer was down in the basement forever.
My grandmother died in 2001 at the age of 93,
and the machines were still going.
We're still using them.
Yes, exactly.
Those are the people in our family that got her refrigerator, her freezer, her washer, her dryer. They're still going.
The Frigidaire, right? The Frigidaire.
So all you kids out there who think you just push a little button on your little slavey phone, which was manufactured by Ming and the rest of his friends while he was falling through the air at Foxconn out in China, but hey, whatever.
Meanwhile,
remember those refrigerators had one thing to do. There wasn't like all these multiple things.
No, they weren't connected to the internet. They didn't tattle on you. They didn't tell your friends how many times you went to get ice cream in the middle of the night. They just sat there, did what they were supposed to do, and you know what? They knew how to keep their mouth shut. Unlike everything else on this freaking planet this day and age.
And in the summer, they operated as an ad hoc air conditioner.
Yes, you could stand naked or almost naked, depending on how much you want to cool off.
Now we had. Now, did you have the refrigerator freezer, or did you have the refrigerator and then a separate freezer?
No, we were actually somewhat modern. We had the refrigerator freezer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we did.
Because my grandmother had the refrigerator and the freezer, and what Andy was talking about in the summertime, she would open up the freezer and put the box fan, that 24-inch square fan with the grill on either side to keep your fingers from getting cut off.
Right. Yeah, I quit having.
Would blow that thing around the house, and that's how we got the cool air. That's how we got air conditioning.
The last time I had a full chest freezer was in an abandoned lot that I had rented under an assumed name. But we won't go into that on a public podcast.
Got it.
It's just we'll leave it there.
I want to get back to Schumer for a second because I saw him.
Speaking of dead things in the freezer,
on The View, and he explained why he didn't vote against.
Were they giving him a hard time?
They were giving him a hard time, but he explained his reasoning behind why he didn't vote against the Republican bill, and he was right.
He was right. Right now, you're not in the superior position. You're not going to win any points. You're not going to get any extra votes. Schumer has to think about that. There's a Senate race in less than 2 years now. He can't even think.
He brought up something else too.
But it's his job as majority leader to be in charge of the Democrat election machine, just like the guy from Kentucky who's been there for 10 million years, and when we finally get rid of him, we can drop him down in an abandoned coal mine where he can bounce off Dick Cheney's soul.
But he brought up this point. But Dick Cheney's soul, that should be in hell. But
he
brought up this point is that if they had actually gone, and if the country had gone into whatever forced not paying everybody and stuff like that,
right.
He said that at that point that Trump could easily cut any program.
Not only that, Trump will hang the coming recession on them if they do that. And a recession is coming.
It doesn't. Now, you know what though, Jason? It doesn't matter. Everything.
No, I know
everything bad. Everything bad is Biden and Hillary's fault. Everything good is to his credit.
Yes. Welcome to the modern world of politics. Is this was ever different?
I'd like to respectfully tell him to suck my dick.
Well, you and what 40 million whatever other Democrats or 50 million. Pick your number. I don't know which. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're not the only one. You're certainly not 81 million because we quit letting cemeteries vote. But never mind that. Mm-hmm.
Fatty fast food, do your job.
By the way, that was my dancer name in the 80s.
So is the plan just like McDonald's meal cards to him?
And I did have the butt floss marks, but
that you probably needed it for something.
Well, if you want to see the pictures, they're out there online. They used to be on Polaroids, but I mixed it up a little bit. The guy you got to worry about is J.D. Vance, and so does Trump. Yes.
Oh my God! You know what? And I think this is why we had Pence last time. I think Trump picks his vice presidents based on the fact that we don't want to get rid of him because of the next guy.
Yeah.
I think that's why Biden chose Kamala Harris. I think that's why Biden chose Kamala Harris. Oh, you get rid of me, you got Kamala.
What I still don't understand about Harris, in all seriousness, was that she had 4 years to do some sort of a charm transplant. She is not a charming woman, but she could have had Hillary or some of her people come over and work with her off duty, off camera, to just sort of change things around. Because the fact of the matter is she was slotted into a difficult position, but a very winnable one. And yet she took weeks to get out there and get in front of the camera to do interviews and whatnot. Again, it wasn't the perfect situation, but sometimes you've got to go with what you've got.
That's
what she had.
Yeah, I'd like to see more media attention on this Canadian election coming up, because the Prime Minister this week or last week, at the end of last week, it's been less than a week. He called for an election.
He called snap elections. Yep.
And they're going to have it in 4 weeks. Oh my God!
Snap elections. But the thing is,
we need a parliament. We can get rid of this.
They are doing that because the reigning basically Trudeau's party, even though Trudeau's out of power, his party is still in charge. Trudeau's
he didn't step out of the parliament.
He stepped down from the leadership, right?
Yeah,
but the thing is, the opposition party was growing in strength, but Trump's insistence upon starting a trade war with Canada, or Canada as I like to call them, has changed that calculus, and it has made the opposition party far less likable, because they are seen as being aligned with Trump. Hence, they're calling this snap elections for now. That is one of the advantages of a parliamentary system. Is that you're able to sort of do these things, and
you have no confidence in him, you can get rid of the guy.
I mean, and again, you change the leadership, and if Trudeau comes back, God forbid, much like a syphilis scab, maybe he will, maybe he won't, who knows? But the idea is that the party stays in power, and you get your you get to stay in place. Whether that, because I can't remember what real conservative leadership in Canada since Brian Mulroney, or you have to go back to John Diefenbacher. And if only Sam were here.
Brian Mulroney was conservative.
Yeah, they say Mulroney, but that's the 80s. That's 40 years ago now.
That was when Reagan was in office.
Yeah, I mean that's back when the Act of Patriation. And if Sam were only here now to hear me talk about the Canadian Act of Patriation, and to exclaim how we should put people in cars and drive them away to Canada, because that's when Canada went from being a dominion to a full-blown nation. That was their formal.
That girl, I should say, that woman from Colombia.
Yeah,
is in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And
which one?
The one they wanted to deport.
What party's in charge of Canada right now? Is it the Democratic?
I would say it's a Canadian.
It's the Labor. It's their Labor Party.
So. Labor Party.
The CCP, Canadian.
But they still have a Liberal
Party.
Party, right?
Well, wait a minute.
That's very conservative.
Let's talk about parliamentarian systems. You have to get a consensus government, because nobody ever wins a majority over there.
Right. You got to do a coalition.
So you have to have a coalition, which I wish we would do here, because the only thing we have close to that, at our Democratic meeting last Thursday, we had a training and education, a lecture on ranked choice voting, and that is their answer to parliamentarianism, is to go to ranked choice voting.
But we don't do things that way. And also here, you really have to you have to win your party, and then you take your party into the general. I mean, that's the way it's always been that way.
But don't you remember? It always used to be. You take your party to the opposite ends to get your base, and then you go back
exactly,
to the middle,
and then you go back to the middle to win. That's again, because Americans are stupid.
And then Trump threw all that off. Now it's like,
I don't know. He what he did was he told the Bush end of the party to please go fuck itself, and they answered by running baby Jeb Bush, which kind of showed how inbred the whole program had been, and how'd that work out? That no one hates Trump more than the establishment Republicans, because they're out of a job. They didn't mind. What the key is? The Republicans love being losers, Mark. They love it. They love being backbenchers. They can sit back there. They can soak their base for all the money in the world.
Makes me very happy to have
and not do a damn thing. Oh, they'll win every now and then by default, much like a broken watch will be right twice a day. Every now and then something will go along. But other than that, they have absolutely no interest in doing anything other than feathering their own bed and pursuing their own personal interests. They don't give a goddamn about Americans.
So in 26, are the Democrats going to get back the House and the Senate the way they did in 2018?
Probably not. They'll probably get the Senate. I mean, it depends on how many seats they have to. The thing is, Peters is stepping down.
Now, there's a lot.
Comedy podcast, everyone. But go ahead.
There are a lot of states
for 25 minutes. Okay.
There are a lot of states, though, that have done what Michigan has done and have the redistricting commission. So a lot of these states,
I know,
districts that aren't as gerrymandered.
Which was, again, absolutely, when I saw the Michigan Republicans allowed that to happen, I knew how supine and useless and powerless they were, because under no circumstances do you allow that to happen.
No, they were
crush
nope.
your enemy every chance you get. That's what you do.
I disagree with you,
to.
and I'll disagree, and I'll tell you where I disagree with you. They were ignorant of and overconfident of all the votes that they thought they were going to get in these districts that were redrawn.
Well, that could be true. I live
in Livonia, Michigan.
Yeah.
That had one representative for, I don't know. My wife moved there when she was 5. I think they go back to the time when they didn't have
water, electricity. That's Livonia, right?
I'm talking about Livonia. No, I'm going back to. We're talking about going back to the time when they didn't have term limits for state offices.
Right.
Oh, God.
And a lot of these peoples ran for, and it was Republican after Republican after Republican after Republican. And then when they redrew the districts, they had little bits. What they did was they drew it so that
they draw a little string to one area, and
so if you take Livonia, the part I live in the northwestern part, and that area is with Northville and Plymouth.
Right.
And Northville and Plymouth is more liberal than Livonia, because while we were keeping all the blacks out, they were saying, come live in Northville and Plymouth. And so the Democrats all moved there. And so with most Republicans. And they took the rest of the city of Livonia and divided it in half, north and south, and mixed it with Detroit and Redford. And so that's where we get all our Democratic votes.
Yeah. Well, the Michigan Republican Party still run by those inbreds out there on the west side of the state who made their money on the biggest pyramid scheme that's been going on for 50, 60 years. And no one has bothered to endorse. And not only are they are they not being indicted, they're in the cabinet half the time, right? I mean, how many times does a DeVos or whatever end up in some cabinet or sub-cabinet level position? Yeah. You know, and
you're talking about the kids and grandkids now, because the originals are dead. I'm almost sure.
I mean, say what you will, we could only hope. I mean, it's about time. What took them so long?
Well, the pyramid scheme should have petered out right now.
People still keep getting. No, they just moved into the online sphere. It's the same old thing going on. I mean, ideally,
no, it's crypto. It's crypto now.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
all the multi-marketing people are into cryptocurrency now.
I'm just waiting for the cleansing hand of the meteor of death to show up and incinerate them all while I laugh from beyond the grave. I mean, hi folks. By the way, I'm available for kids shows and birthday parties. Yeah,
that's the meteorite that's hurtling towards Earth.
Exactly right. Yes, all I want to do is live long enough so that I can hear the symphony of their agony, so that their cries combine into a.
Supposedly, there's an asteroid out there that has enough gold that could totally throw off the entire system.
Yeah,
it has enough gold.
Yeah,
gold. Yeah, there's
an
asteroid out there. They discovered.
You know what? I'd be if it's got that much gold, I'd be more worried that it would send the Earth out of its orbit, and we'd either burn.
There's a joke about the Israelis starting a space program, but we'll just pass right by that because my bad anti-Semitic humor there. Which, by the way, is another thing that I'm seeing. And guys, I will say this
University of Chicago. You're on.
There is. I mean, you guys can decide for yourself. I will argue that the left has a problem with anti-Semitism, but you know what? The right, the modern right, has a huge problem, and it is growing like I'm dead serious. It is growing like a cancer just under the surface, but it's there for anyone who wishes to see it, and it's terrifying. Back in the day, William Buckley kicked out the John Birchers back in the 60s. He said, if you're a member of this organization, if you're not part of what we call the Republican Party. You're something, but you ain't us. Yeah. But we don't have anyone who's presently in a position to do exactly that. And if you were to come over to my side I could show you some things and you go, oh my God, this is insane. And it's growing online, and it's growing amongst young people. They use terms like the little hats and the people with the little hats and all this sort of slang when they mean Jew and whatnot. And it's very disturbing because, again, and I've said this before, but I think there's a lot of truth to it. Whatever they're going to do to the Jews, they're going to do to everyone else. They're just number one in line. That once you turn the machine on, it doesn't stop. and again, I don't know, terrified, but first I'm disgusted by it, but I'm genuinely concerned about it because, you know, I ain't going to be here much longer, but I got nieces and nephews got to live in this world. Yeah, I don't need to see that crap again. You know, I mean, you know, like I say, I'm looking forward to the icy hand of death showing up probably during Final Jeopardy, you know, when I have, when I have to say, listen, Boney, just sit your ass down. We got less than 30 seconds. They're playing the song.
They're playing the song. Let's finish this show.
How about this? I'll arm wrestle you over it. I mean, I got you on this one.
Did you see Mr. Show?
A couple times.
There was an episode where
doesn't he show up and like kill a whole dinner party?
Was an astronaut. He was in space. It's like
right
in the future.
Yeah.
He's at the bar and the guy says, "So what's wrong in there? You got it's always spewing all the racist stuff you can, you know." It's like
yeah.
It's who are the two guys who did the Mr. Show?
It was Bob Odenkirk
and did David Cross?
David Cross and one more.
But
David Cross did the guy that was a racist.
Yeah. Have you guys noticed that online Christopher Titus has posted up his entire Titus series from Fox? Oh. And if you go back and look at that thing, especially the first season, Stacy Keach, who plays Satan Dad, and that has some of the most and the thing that this was on regular broadcast television back in the 90s.
Yeah,
it just kind of shows you how far we've dumbed things down. But Stacy Keach was amazing in terms of his comedic chops in that series. You know,
that was a great show. That
I recommend you check out the episode, Titus. Dave moves out the clown dance. For those of us of a certain age, it absolutely
Titus and the other one was Malcolm in the Middle. Those two shows were on at the.
Oh my God, those were fantastic.
First couple of years, they did a great job, and nowadays, these kids today, oh my God, I don't know. So, Andy, I got to ask you, you know, I still do a little bit of Uber here and there. Are you working around Ann Arbor at all, around the U of M, or are you just like wherever they send you, you go, and that's it? And
wherever they send me, I sometimes get stuck in Ann Arbor.
Right.
This last weekend, I was Friday was actually good.
Mm-hmm.
But then once they start clicking me out, they're always trying to get me out to
Detroit
and north of Detroit. They always want to drop me off out there sometime around 8:00 at night.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I live in Ypsilanti. Could you please let me go home?
No. They. Or I like to go out to Mark's
Sterling Heights.
Mark's neighborhood in Livonia. Where
that's a good one. So I try and just head east to where the money line starts.
Our corner of the hood is where 275, 96 and M14 meet, and we got a shitload of hotels, and it's right down the street from the airport. So we see Uber and Lyft all the time.
Well, yeah, if you need to rent a room for an hour, it's the place to do it. I'm just saying. So,
I usually go up there.
Bite your tongue.
Well, it wasn't the tongue that. Never mind that. At any rate, I'm known for not biting. It's also really bad when you get to a point where you look in the mirror, it's over. It's over. Just stop. You're embarrassing yourself at this point. Just quit. Right. I mean, we still got these dudes in the gym who are like even older than I am, and they're walking around and they're doing what we affectionately call shirt cocking, where they've got the shirt on and nothing else. And it's like, dude, really? Come on. Stop it. Just okay, put on your underwear, a towel, a burial shroud, something, anything, please.
Yeah,
it's
if
over.
I use the shower in there,
you have to come to my
first towel goes on the wall of the glass. Yeah, I click over so nobody can see me.
Oh my God!
Then I take the shower.
I don't care that anyone sees me but I just at this point in time, I don't make any effort to be. Fortunately, because again, when you're used to people looking away and going, "Oh dear Lord, it happened. Oh Jesus, the poor man. What did he do? What did he park himself at the Dairy Queen in the 80s? What? I mean, didn't he ever do a push-up? What? I mean,
Fatty fast food, do your
Fatty
job.
fast food was my dancer name. I'm out the truck stop.
Fatty fast food, do your job.
Yeah, exactly. Dressed up like a cocktail waitress on an oil rig, just trying to make enough money, to pay the bills. And God,
basically you were living Andy's Hooters joke, right?
Yes, absolutely, and scare and of course it scares the children away, which I actually find amusing at this point. It's like, yeah, take a good look at me. This is your future. This is what's going to happen. Oh, work out all you want. Work very hard. Be diligent for all the good it will do you. This is the way it ends. Savor
Hey, are you guys doing any this thoughtful calculating? Nothing serious or anything, but like my parents didn't live to be 80,
right?
And I'm 65, so that's less than 15 years for me if I follow their genetics. So, do you guys do any of that? Like trying to figure out what you need to do before you're gone? Okay.
Yeah.
In my case, it's like not swallow this vial of Valium I've got sitting on my desk. Just waiting to go.
I plan on jumping out of an airplane every year from now until I can't remember to pull the chute. So
that'll be the one you can't.
That'll be my last day. One. So it's a way of not having to worry about living in an old age home.
We just had another one of our old taxi cab buddies bite it. Rick Clark. You remember Rick?
Yeah.
He died in a fire, but they think he had a heart attack and was cooking and set something on fire.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I guess he got half off on the cremation, so there's that. But
maybe he was. Yeah, he was always a cheap guy. He was always.
Well, he was.
So it's funny.
He never gave the full accounting of his tip.
I mean, exactly. They can take him from the ME office and say, "Listen, can you just finish it up?" I mean, it shouldn't take but half the time here.
We had a neighbor died in a fire last year, and they still haven't done anything with the house, which is very unusual.
We had 2 years ago a house in Ann Arbor blow up in a very nice neighborhood. They were heating the house with like propane gas or something along those lines.
Yes.
Andy, you've seen it. It's like they're over off of 7th and Jefferson, and because everyone knows where 7th and Jefferson is out there in the internet land. Of course they do. I mean, but you go there for a long time, there was just a big hole and splinters. I mean, the house blew the F up. Yeah. People don't understand how explosive this crap is. And boy, oh boy. Yeah. I don't recommend you do the home propane heating.
No.
I mean, unless, of course, breaking your neighbor's windows is something you look forward to on your last few milliseconds of life. No,
I'm planning on cat heat. Okay.
Right. Yeah. Well, I've explained to my nephew. I've told my nephew that I wish my remains to be scattered around Ann Arbor with a tree chipper. I've asked for a Fargo funeral, where they're just sort of like feeding me through, like during the art fair.
Oh, okay. They could feed you in, and on the other end of it is a canvas.
Yeah, where once again another Coen Brothers film reference. Yeah, where I'm just sort of like, hey, so I guess the guy's leg, that's the big guy, huh? Yeah, well, that's. I don't know. I mean, I've looked into taking the Social Security. I'm still making enough such that if I were to take my Social Security, I wouldn't get very much of it. And if I wait a little bit longer, I will get more on a monthly basis. But then again.
I looked at mine. I haven't collected mine yet, and it's like $28 more each month. Every month I wait, it's $28.
And you think about it now, that might not be much, but later on, it might be just enough. I mean, if I had kids, I know they would want me to wait so they could smother me with a pillow and collect the checks for some.
Collect the checks and tell everybody you're doing.
Well, sure, exactly.
He lived 200 years old. He lived for 200 years. There we go.
He went down to the basement 2.5 years ago and told everyone, whatever you do, don't come downstairs, don't open this door, no matter what you hear, no matter what. And then he said we're going to obey his wishes, of course. I mean,
and if I die, the magazine collection gets thrown out before anybody sees it. Right?
Well, I've willed it to my nephew, but it's up to him. I mean, it depends on if he's got hand sanitizer or not. It's sort of like the.
I'm not gonna go that way. I'm gonna try and do the nomad land thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
live out of a van and go work for Amazon and
and until you find out that the guy named Chip that you were supposed to meet is actually someone else who recently left a reformatory in Northern Ohio and was using a different name. Not that it's happened to me or anything, but I'm just saying these
I'm not going to pick up anybody. I'm just going to say I'm going to live in the van.
There was a guy in Ann Arbor 2 years ago who a doctor who was unmarried who picked up a young gentleman who strangely enough ended up strangling him to death. One of the
I'm going to live in the van. I'm not.
I got it.
People up.
Okay. I understand, Andy. I'm just ruminating, just spitballing, just talking about
I'm only about a year away from having Medicare, so I know it's covered. So then at that point,
my mom died at 54, and she often proclaimed that yes, she was happy to go. She had lived like a hillbilly on Saturday night her whole life, and she never intended to get old. And she then asked that her ashes be spread on my dad's truck so that she could haunt it. And then my dad died just a little after 65, so I'm going to be outliving him fairly soon here, like in August. And I've got to decide whether I want to start taking this Social Security or not. The job that I have, and you guys have been around the auto industry. We go from times where we're getting all kinds of overtime. To oh my God, we're going bankrupt tomorrow. Everyone better gird your loins. Here comes and what's it going to be? Well, who the hell knows? Week to week, I got no freaking clue.
Every guy I know in all the shops I would work in that either pushed a broom or drove the high-low. One of these, didn't need a lot of training, didn't need a lot of education,
but had a job.
All of them worked 40, 50, 60 years. And all of them are living large now.
Had a job, got health care for the whole damn family, eye care, a car, maybe two, maybe even a place up north if you didn't have to pay for rehab for your kids. No, they're not. They're not, and it's not coming back.
That was a golden time. Now, if it comes back, which would be great,
it will never come back.
But wait, basically, what's going to happen is, we got the robots coming. So it's sort of
I know. And the robots are starting to make decisions for themselves, so they don't even need to.
Oh no, it's only a matter of time before
the robots can program. The robots can program themselves now.
Yeah.
And Elon Musk and the rest of his coterie will be the last ones to be marched into the mulching machine, and he's going to be like, but I built you, and it'll be like, yeah, of course. What else could you do?
You built us because we built us because we convinced you to.
The machine will be, I am perfect. Are you? And it's like, and these people will just they will pull the digital oars on the Ellsworth slave ship all the way up to Soylent Green Bay. And at least if you pulled oars on a real Roman slave galley, you had great pecs and nice shoulders. I mean, you could go without a shirt in the summertime if you were on the Roman galley for like 8 or 9 months. Not in this day, you're down there like doing the digital gamer thing until you're dead.
Yeah.
On that happy note, yeah.
Well, all I know is that if we work it out right, I would rather have a robot caretaker in my old age than an actual human being.
Well, I've got a couple of robot devices that I'm quite pleased with, but and if you go on my OnlyFans page, you can actually see me use them. Yeah. And if you don't go on my OnlyFans page, you won't have to see me use them. It's up to you, but I need the $15.95 a month recurring. So
well, I was going to get rid of all
$15.95 if you watch, and $25.95 if you're able to
if you don't want. Yeah, I was telling
Jason, I was thinking of getting rid of my cable, and now you said that I'm definitely getting rid of my cable.
No, don't just walk, run.
Yeah,
but Mark, I agree with you, man. You were talking about your buddy who was like a tool and die and could do just, the kind of stuff you got like a year or two as a journeyman, and then you had a job that lasted your whole life.
My oldest friend on Facebook is a guy that lived across the street from me. When I was a kid, we played on the same Little League team.
Yeah.
For 10 years, we worked together. and played we played on the company softball team.
Yeah,
you don't even have that anymore. We went to a concert at Schoolcraft College, and it was the Ford Motor Company choir.
Yes,
I'm just glad they have that still. That's the type of thing. And there were only about 24 people, about 24 people in the choir. And I'm thinking, I remember when I saw the Ford Motor, General Motor, Pontiac Motors had one. All these companies had these company choirs, company baseball teams, all these things that you did. As we saw the Ford Motor Company theater group. These were employees that worked for Ford, and they did "Do Black Patent Leather Shoes Reflect Up" at the down at Greenfield Village in one of the theaters, and it was like, oh my God, this is like going to Broadway. This was like professional. They had the musicians were company employees, the actors were company employees. So it was just when Susan and I went to this concert the other day, it's like, oh my God, this is like the old days. Ford Motor Company still keeps up their company choir.
Back when my dad took,
and they weren't robots; they were actually human beings.
My dad was actually on vacation visiting relatives in North Dakota. So Andy and I are probably related because he went to North Dakota. So at any rate, when he was diagnosed with terminal lung cancer, and he was not in a good way, and we contacted Ford Aviation, and they were ready and willing to get him a plane. It was going to take a couple of days. It was actually faster for me to fly out there and drive him home.
Right.
But they were actually they
were going to do it.
They were willing to do it. The Ford Motor Company. My dad was a retired Ford Motor, rank and file, worked the line. Wasn't nothing more than that. They were more than willing to go out there and give me a hand with a private jet. That doesn't happen anymore. Chrysler's owned by Stellantis.
Yeah, you know what I think? I think what they did was they made middle class a dirty word. They made middle class. Middle class seemed to be called by the names that they used to call poor people. Indigents and stuff like that. Whereas you didn't want your kid to get a trade because he'd be middle class.
Oh my God! What I would give to go back,
a welder or a plumber. Oh my God!
What I would give to go back in time and become a mechanic. Oh Lord, well, in my case, I'd love to be an airplane, and that way I could work on airplanes and blow pilots. I mean, talk about, having your cake and eating it too in the men's room. It's still, now it's all about being a gamer, being a coder.
We laugh about all of your,
picadillos.
Oh, exactly. We laugh. But have you thought about it? And the time that you lived was probably perfect for you.
Yeah.
Except for that little AIDS thing, but whatever.
Okay. All right. That was
the AIDS.
That was a little bit of careless.
It did. And tell you what, it made apartment hunting a lot easier after a while.
Who's died? You're looking at the obituaries. Find a great apartment. There you go.
Back when I was in the phone room at Yellow Cab, Andy, you remember how much we loved our senior ride people. I loathed them with an unbridled passion. So every day I would be going through the obituaries and then going to the big senior ride log and blacking them out with magic marker, saying, "Well, they're done. Well, they're gone. Sayonara. Never have to deal with them again." And now that I've become an old person, I'm just, again, waiting for the leveling hand of doom to finally,
Okay. I'm going to say this before the minute's going. You personally have a 2-hour film that you can write. Just based on your life, you need to write that film. Okay?
Yeah, sort of like if Quentin Crisp were a garage mechanic in mid-Michigan.
I'm just saying, you've got a bestseller, an Oscar film there.
I've got to get back on stage again, guys. I'm dead serious. I've been getting some new stuff together.
You need to get in front of a typewriter and start typing.
And start writing some of this crap down. I know.
Exactly.
I know.
All I ask is I get to be a driver, an Uber driver. Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, I got plenty of stories in me too. But
there you go.
This hour.
Well, you warmed up for the fucking Monkees. Top that. I can't.
You know what? I just saw a clip of them on the Rosie O'Donnell show back. It had to be the same summer I was working with, because it was the iteration of the Monkees without Michael Nesmith. He was he was rolling along in that liquid paper money. But anyway, that just gave me some great memories. Anyway, our hour is up. Thanks, you guys.
All right.
And we got to chat a lot of things without Sam taking us off into different rabbit trails. You know.
Yeah. We actually could talk to each other for a little bit. You know?
Exactly. It was kind of
nothing against Sam. I love Sam to death.
We love you, Sam.
I didn't mean to interrupt him last night. It's just
I do. Yeah, I love Sam too. I've been thinking maybe a format should be that we pair off, and we don't do 4 at a time. You know, we do an hour and divide it up into like 50-minute chunks,
Sam's a genius, man.
And we go from one to another.
His mind is going so fast. I mean, so it's hard to. I love him to death, but it's kind of like you're just kind of waiting, you know.
I tell you what, it's that quick mind that's keeping. Sorry, Jason. I just dumped Jason out there for a second.
That's happens.
But no, it's that mind that I think is keeping him alive.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I'd have been dead ages. I'd have been begging for death ages ago. I'd have been demanding fentanyl. Where's my fentanyl? You got your choice. You can either overdose me or put up with me. What'll it be?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
All right, with that, we're past our 60 minutes. We'll see you next week. Good night, everybody.
Good night. See y'all.
Watch Bill Burr drop dead here.